Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended to all the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed by his personal example how we should make the chanting of the holy names the very essence of our lives. This material world is like a great ocean of birth and death. It is a vast ocean full of suffering. But this Harinam is like an amazing bridge on which we can cross over the ocean. Normally you can't think of a bridge over the ocean. But by the grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this chanting of the holy names makes the great ocean of birth and death seem very small. Now, if you want to cross over some body of water and there's a bridge, that makes it very convenient. But still you have to do something, isn't it? The bridge is there and it's very convenient, but we still have to make the endeavor to walk over. So the bridge of the holy name will take us very easily to the other side of the ocean of birth and death. But we have to do it. We have to go on that bridge. We have to chant the holy names. But we should have full faith that if we chant the holy names, we shall certainly go to the other side of birth and death and attain pure love of Krishna. There are many different processes recommended in the Vedic literatures. Everyone is recommended to follow the path of dharma, or everyone is advised to engage in different activities, swakarma, according to his social position. These are all pious activities. And there are many different varieties of jap which are recommended in the Vedic literatures. For instance, if you go to an astrologer with a certain problem, he may advise you to do Mrityunjay jap. Mrityunjay, it's a name for Lord Shiva. What do you mean?
Kind of jap.
Pa and ba is the same in Tamil, right? Japam. So japam is not only Hare Krishna mantra, there are so many other varieties also. You never heard of this, Mrityunjay jap? No? Okay. So it's just an example of one of the many processes of that are given in the Vedic literatures. And there are various kinds of tapasya that one can perform. Many people, they recommend that one should simply study the Vedic literatures in great depth with the aim of merging into the impersonal Brahman. And others recommend performing yoga. And now in North India, especially, I don't know South India, but recently in the last few months, pranayam has become very popular. Here also? No, it hasn't reached here. But in North India, it's the latest craze, is everyone should do pranayam, and in this way it's good for health. And from time to time we see people, they perform very big sacrifices, spending lots of money. Or others recommend that you should do dhyanam, meditation. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached from Brihannaradaya Purana. What did he preach? Ask the question. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam Kalo, Nastreva, Gatiranyata. In this Kali Yuga there is no other way but to chant the holy names of Hari. There is no other means of attaining spiritual success in Kali Yuga but chanting the names of Hari, Krishna, Govinda, Narayana, Madhusudana, Gopinath, Govinda, Gopala. Yes, so many. No other way. One may be expert in doing pranayam. So expert that when he blows out through one nostril, he goes up in the air. So maybe if you become very expert in yoga, you can float in the air. but you can't go to Krishna. One may become very learned in the Vedic literature, but if we don't recognize Krishna, then all our Vedic study is a waste of time. We may become very expert in meditating on the tip of our nose, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has shown by his example that millions of times better than meditating on the tip of one's nose is to chant the Hare Krishna mantra and dance in ecstasy. People are performing yagyas with great expense and great difficulty. But the only yagya that can be really successful in this Kali Yuga is that which is performed very easily by chanting the holy names of Krishna. Most people perform all these different religious processes either for material enjoyment or for liberation from material enjoyment, bhakti or mukti. And by doing so they attain the results that they desire. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us not to be attached to the results of bhakti and mukti, because these are pious, dharmic, religious activities, and they give us some kind of temporary relief from the worst difficulties of material life. But it is something like a cloud that comes in the sky. It gives temporary relief from the scorching heat, but then again it goes, and again we have to suffer the heat. So all these different measures that give temporary relief, we should not think that this is the ultimate goal of life, but rather we should fill our mouths with the holy name. We chant with great sincerity and faith and enthusiasm. When we can't expect to have such an easy opportunity again and again. Birth in the human form of life, especially in Bharata Bhumi, at the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is spreading all over the world, that is a very rare and great opportunity. And without having to go through any difficulties, you simply chant the holy name. When again can we expect to have an opportunity, such an opportunity? Sometimes an example is given that there is, in the vast ocean, there is one ring floating, and deep in the ocean lives a great turtle, Kachap. Kurma, Kachap. And that turtle comes up once every 100 years. And that ring is just the size of the turtle's head. So what are the chances that once every 100 years the turtle comes up, and in the vast ocean his head will just come up exactly and go inside that ring? Not much. So that's the rarity of the opportunity to take human birth and take to the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should take advantage and have full faith in this process. The conclusion of all the Shastras is to chant the holy names of Krishna. There is no process equal to that of chanting the holy names. And when we get a taste for chanting the holy names, when we become very much attached to chanting the holy names, then automatically Krishna Prem, pure love of Krishna, will arise within the heart. And when we have love of Krishna, then we get Krishna. Krishna is purchased by praying. So we should apply ourselves to this process. Shravan Kirtan, always hearing and chanting about Krishna. We should do 24 hours a day. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Kirtaniya Sadaharihi, the holy names of Krishna should be chanted 24 hours a day. So when we wake up, we should chant the holy names. And before taking rest, we should chant the holy names. And throughout the day, we should chant the holy names. And if we do that, then at night in our sleep, we'll also chant the holy names. If you do something all day, then at night you dream doing the same thing. Have you had that experience? So this way you can chant 24 hours. But to do so, we have to give up all nonsense talk. We have so many other things to talk about. All rubbish. So always hear and chant about Krishna. Give up all nonsense talks. And in this way, make our rare and valuable human life successful. Don't postpone it. Don't think, I'll do it later. I'll become Krishna conscious, but later. It might be much later. Because if we get the body of a frog or a dog or a caterpillar, it won't be very possible to engage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. If you say frog, dog, caterpillar, you can say prani, but it makes it more descriptive if you give some examples. So, don't waste time. Human life is short. Any life is short. Even Brahma's life is short. Every time Brahma sneezes, the average jiva goes through 20 births. So now is the time. Now is the opportunity. Sometimes people say that when the young people take to Krishna, they say, why are you taking to Krishna consciousness? You should do so when you're old, just before you die. And so we can say, yes, I'm taking to Krishna consciousness because I'm just about to die. I'm 20 years old, and if I die at 70, that means I only have 50 years left. That's not much time. I know, I'm almost 50, and where did my life go? So much time I've wasted. Not only in this life, but life after life. Everyone is wasting away their life. Bill Gates has wasted his life. Manmohan Singh has wasted his life. Here in South India there are two famous ammas. One is a lady from the fisher caste of Kerala, and another is the most famous woman in Tamil Nadu. But they've also wasted their life. They're famous, they're rich, they're respected, but they've wasted their lives because they have no attraction to the holy name of Krishna. So better use this life for chanting. Chanting what? Amma, Amma? Or should we chant Paisa, Paisa? No. Illa. Chant. Sulle, Sulango. Sulanga. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And make your life successful. This is the conclusion of all the Vaishnava Acharyas, all the Shastras. And there is great evidence of the value of the holy name. That even a rascal and a fool like me, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, is engaged in chanting the holy names. What a wonderful thing. So, if I can do it, you can do it. When I first came to the temple, in those days they didn't have this program like Krishna Sevak and Krishna Sadhak. They just said, chant 16 rounds. Immediately. Don't waste any time. One round and then later you do 2 rounds and later 4. Immediately, chant 16. So I thought, how can I chant 16 rounds? So I looked around and saw all these devotees, and I thought that, they all come from the same background as me. They didn't fly in from Mars. They're all born of a father and mother like me and went to school and got some education. They're all from the same background as me. They're doing it, so I should be able to do it also. So if they can do it, I can do it by the grace of Krishna. So same thing, if I can do it, you can do it. We're not exactly coming from the same kind of material background, but your background is much better than mine. If you knew what my background was, you'd kick me off this seat and drive me out of town, and you'd never want to come within 1,000 miles of me. You're all coming from very pious background. So you have more opportunity. So therefore, I can simply request, please chant Hare Krishna, take this very seriously, and teach this to others. People are spoiling their lives in sub-religious principles. They don't know that the real goal of life is to serve Krishna. Especially at the present time in India, people are becoming extremely materialistic, and they are throwing away their pious culture to become degraded. So don't be misled by this degrading demoniac culture. Chant the holy names and induce others to also chant the holy names of Krishna. Study Srila Prabhupada's books and understand why we should chant the holy names. In this way we can follow the instruction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Guru gave to him. Nacho gao bhakta sange karo sankirtan nama upadeshi tara sarvajan. Harinama upadeshi tara sarvajan. That go on chanting, go on dancing. In the association of devotees, perform Sankirtan. And by instructing others in the value of the chanting of the holy names, deliver the whole world. So we may not be able to deliver the whole world as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has done. But at least in our area, among the people we know, we should try to spread. In Tamil Nadu, there is, up still today, people pious inclination. That is very good. But mostly they don't know what is the value of the holy names of Krishna. So we should tell others. Try to convince others that their highest benefit can be had by chanting the holy names. Just a few days ago I was speaking to a doctor, and he's a devotee in Maharashtra. So I gave him a piece of tilak, and he said, well, that's good because I just finished my tilak, I needed to get some more. And he said that this piece will last me for several months. I was surprised. Well, it's only a small piece, how will it last you for several months? Because he said, well, when I go in the hospital I don't use it, I just put on with water. So I said, well, why don't you just put on tilak and go? He said it might make a kind of barrier between myself and my patients, especially those who are non-Hindus. So I said, well, the Christian, they always wear their cross to show they're a Christian. And the Muslim men have beards and the women have burqas to show that they are Muslims. So you should have Vaishnav tilak to show that you're a Vaishnav. A Christian wears a cross and then no one says anything. If a Muslim has a beard, no one criticizes or says anything. So why shouldn't the Vaishnavas wear tilak? They're afraid someone will criticize. Why should they criticize? Even if they criticize, let them criticize. That's their mistake. But actually, after a few days, they'll get used to it, and then they won't say anything. They'll respect them. People will ask, what is that? And you can say, that's Vaishnav tilak, because I'm dedicated to the practice of chanting the holy names of Krishna. So this is a sign of that. And you can say, just like the Christian has the cross. You can say that. So he agreed, and he said, okay, from now on, I'll go to a hospital wearing tilak only. So you can do so also. As long as you do your job, then the boss or they should have no complaint. And even if they say something, then you can say, look, the Christian wears the cross, so why are you discriminating against me? That also gives you a good opportunity to preach, because people will ask, well, what's this all about, and this and that. But you also have to make sure that you act like a devotee. One of the factors that led me in my childhood to look for religion beyond the Christian upbringing that I had was that those who call themselves Christians, they had no better qualities than those who didn't. So I thought, what's the use of calling yourself a Christian? Even the priest is smoking and drinking and watching TV. So I thought, what's the use of this religion? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preached by his practical behavior. Apani achare prabhu jivere shikai. So by sadachara, or proper behavior in devotional service, we should preach Krishna consciousness. We factually see in our movement that those devotees who are particularly trying to behave in a manner that is befitting Vaishnavas, that they are attracting others to Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna consciousness is not just some religion where you pray to get some more money, nothing like that. Krishna consciousness means purification of heart, which must be reflected in one's behavior. And purification of heart comes by chanting the holy names of Krishna. Cheto darpana marjanam, the dusty mirror of the heart is cleansed by chanting the holy names. So please go on chanting the holy names and preach this chanting of the holy names and try to bring others into this family of Krishna consciousness. Be happy and make others happy by Krishna consciousness. That is my simple request to you. As I said, that I was very happy to see the smiling faces of the devotees in Avadi. But most people in Avadi are not smiling. Most people are not chanting Hare Krishna. So you please try to bring more and more people into this Krishna consciousness. Take it very seriously yourselves. Chant at least 16 rounds of the Mahamantra every day. Follow all these regulated principles. Study Prabhupada's books and take to heart what Prabhupada is saying. And dedicate our lives fully to Krishna. Of course, most of you are Grihastha devotees. So you have family and social duties also. So those should also be executed. But we should know that our real purpose of life is to satisfy Krishna. So we should execute family and social duties, but understand that this is all temporary. What is permanent is Krishna and our relationship with Him. Recently, I was telling one of my disciples in Gujarat, we were organizing some camp for devotees, or where devotees could all come together, and I asked him if he was coming.
He was coming?
I asked him if he was going to be coming. So he's from a business family and quite well-to-do. So he told me with great disappointment that, no, my family, they're dragging me off to Singapore. They want to go to Singapore. He was very disappointed. Some family visit for shopping and all this kind of stuff. So due to pressure from his family, he also had to go, but he didn't want to go. Every year we see advertisements. Go to Singapore, enjoy yourself. It's become a fashion among the richer people in India. And most people can't afford to go to Singapore. They can only afford to go to Tirupati, which is much better. Srirangam or Tirupati or like this. Places like this. So that's considered a great privilege if you have enough money and you can go off on holiday to Singapore. But he was disappointed. He didn't want to. He wanted to let me spend my life in bhakti, but he was some dragging from his family members, pulling him back. So don't be attracted by all this material diversion. You get that glass? That's why he brought the car, right? In the modern age, there are more material diversions than at any other time in history. I heard that in America you can get up to 400 channels on TV. Nah. How many in Tamil Nadu? 60. 60 to 70. Nearly 100. All useless. But you see there's more diversions than previously. So many things on the internet and computer games and all. So many things to make us forget Krishna, to help us to forget Krishna. Don't be bewildered. Don't spoil your life. Chant Hare Krishna. This is the most valuable thing we have. Someone might say, well, I just got the latest, fantastic, big screen TV with very clear picture and loud sound. It's fantastic. I didn't say that, but anyway, that's okay. And you can tell them, you think that's good? I got something better. What's this advertisement that Oneida TV with the horns like that? Onida is pronounced. Okay. You got something better? But they told me it was the best. How much does an expensive TV cost? You say, I just spent 45,000 on a TV and you got something better? Amma. Yes. Amma. Did I say it right? No. Anyway, yes. Hello! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And it only costs 45 rupees. Well, I don't see how that's better than a TV. That's because you're a fool. Turn it off. Throw it out the window. Pick up your bead bag. Chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. There's nothing in all the worlds in comparison with the holy name of Krishna.
I want that money.
Okay, questions. What's the question? You want the beads? Actually, the beads. Chanting is free, but the beads you have to spend little on. So, any question?
He says, God is realized in three forms, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Is the Brahman and the soul is the same?
Did you say that in the mic in Tamil? Okay. The word Brahma has several meanings. It means that which is spiritual, and in that respect it refers to the Supreme Lord, to the Jiva, and to the Vedic literature. The Vedic statement is, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma. Sometimes this is misunderstood to mean that I am the Supreme, but it means that simply I am spiritual by nature, I am Jiva. I'm not the body. Impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are three non-different aspects of the Supreme Absolute Truth. They're not different, but they're three different aspects. According to one's qualification, one can appreciate the Supreme Absolute Truth at different levels. Just like from a distance, you can see a mountain. It might look like, in the distance, in the early morning, it may look like some hazy mass. But when you come closer, then you can see that it's a mountain. And if you go right up to that Malay hill, and you go on it, then you can see all the different rocks and all the details. So it's a matter of perception. If one doesn't have very clear knowledge, he perceives of the Supreme Absolute Truth as impersonal. Or, if one has more clear knowledge, then he understands that the Supreme is a person, but doesn't have very much more knowledge than that. And Bhagavan realization means to understand the Absolute Truth in all details of His